Okay, so in our last video I able to show our errors by looking at when we are creating. So when we had something that didn't work, then it was relatively easy for us to see why. So there you go, and you'll get all the errors that were there, right? So both the selected generator is not there. Now what we want to do is we want to make this into a rather better format, which our users can now use, because they're not going to display this to the users obviously. So how do you do that? So going back to form. Okay, so first thing to note is here we had the digits in between. This didn't seem to be, this doesn't seem to show any errors, even if we had invalid digits. Let's just quickly confirm that. So if we made a new movie and say the random genre, no matter what we put in our rating, it did not validate for us. So I think the problem with that was what we used, because we're using a dig between, which is where I'll see that. So using this, which actually checks the length of the values given. Okay. So instead what you want to use is the min and max, which are provided. Let's quickly see where they're provided here. So you can use this to make sure that the value is somewhere there. This is how we do it. So that needs to be min, that, and max, that. You might have noticed how this works. So when you have more than one rule, you put this as a separator for the next rule. Then the rule, for you to take in arguments, you put in this colon sign and then you provide the arguments. So here you had this as one rule, it takes no arguments. This is another rule, takes no arguments. So the rule takes an argument, so the argument is 0. This other rule takes an argument, and such. So that's the structure. Okay, so let's try refreshing again, see if the minimax worked better than digits between. And it seems to have worked. So now we can see that. Yeah, so we have really helpful messages here. So how do you put these messages inside our views? Well, can go back to the documentation to see how they did it. So we go back here, get about this one, let's see. So there you go. So this is how they're actually putting it in the view. So let's get back here and we look at our views. So here what you're returning is add movie. So you can come to add movie and see how I would put in our very own. Okay, so something to note is that there's always a variable called errors. It's always available. Even if it doesn't have anything, it's always available. So all you need to do is get errors from it. So errors, it's a collection. You can look into Laravel collections. So you can look into it, see what it's all about. Alright, so you can look into it and look at the API documentation. So what you're going to be using is something called FAST. Here it is. So collections it's a really nice tool. You should look more into it. So you're going to get from the errors, you're going to get only the first error. Of course, you might want to look into a better way of making this work in production. Okay, so like that. So what you're going to do, you're going to do this for all of them, not just the first one. Okay, so but for this one, clearly this is not going to be title, but instead it's going to be what it represents as such. Same case here, this represents rating. Okay, rating. Very good. So let's go back here. Let's run our create, see what happens. Okay, so yeah, I don't think we changed it here. Oh yeah, now we no longer want to die. Instead, what you want to do, you want to redirect back to where it came from. So fresh, good to go. So just a random movie. the random genre and a really high rating. Save it up. Okay, so as you can see, this is good, but you're telling here selected genre is invalid and the rating it may not be greater than 5. So that's how you show error messages. So let's make this just a bit better looking. Just a bit better looking so that each of them is within its own paragraph. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap each of them in its own particular paragraph like that. Same case here, just wrapping it in a paragraph so that we can better see it, how it's working. So let's see how this would have worked now. So now at least looks more like a paragraph. Start with this. Okay, at least looks better. So the requirement filter run first. Let's give a requirement and give it certain ratings, see what happens. Okay, so far right, so that seems to work much better. So let's get there. I'm quickly moving on.